I'm mad. I'm absolutely fucking livid. The moment I cancel my Game Pass subscription to focus on more older games that I meant to talk about for years now, Tango Gameworks, aka developer of 2022's Game of the Year Ghostwire Tokyo, ends up shadow dropping a new cel-shaded rhythm action game about a rockstar? I'm not too mad though, since I needed a break from that PS3 video, and that's just getting more and more stressful since it's very quickly becoming the biggest video I've ever made. And I never wrote a segue into the actual review, so fuck it, we're doing it live. In Hi-Fi Rush, you play as Chai, a guy who wants to be a rock star despite not knowing how to play music? Wow, I didn't know that they made a game about DJ Khaled. He ends up getting a procedure at the company Vandelay to get a robot arm as a sort of get-rich-quick scheme, but uh-oh, tech company bad. Hey, this is Pizza Dad coming live from the editing room. I forgot to mention that he ends up with a music player in his fucking chest as a result from an accident that happens during the procedure. Cyberpunk 2077 could never. He ends up joining alongside the hacker Peppermint as well as a few others who all have internal ties to Vandelay in order to fight the man. The story is extremely simple: beat the 6 bosses, get their keys, and turn off the world-ending device. But it's the execution that manages to make the game work so well. Chai could have easily been an insufferable main character. Just think of any other shy person who constantly accidents their way into beating the boss and is just needlessly incompetent. However, Chai is just hard-headed and childish, but not incompetent. Man's just got a tunnel vision, hit the thing, then jump out the window. He manages to be goofy while also being enjoyable to watch. But even if you end up not liking him, the rest of the cast does a great job of balancing him out. I won't go into detail about any of them as to not spoil the story, because this is a game you need to experience firsthand. The only thing I'll say is that the main villain, Kale, is fucking hilarious. His delivery manages to be pretty funny despite being an on-the-nose critique of corporate America. Listen, buddy, I hate capitalist bullshit just as much as the next guy, but lazy evil billionaires sort of get old. Actually, the entire game manages to be fucking hilarious. Occasionally there's some Deadpool, Rick and Morty level humor that's sort of like, whoa guys, we're in a game. It just doesn't really fucking land. Like, the first line of the trailer is literally, "Yup, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here." Yeah, no, sorry Chai, only Ratatouille can make that sound not cringe. Here's a short list of things that made me laugh at 3 a.m. because I took notes on them and I just might as well say them out loud. There's an upgrade you can buy that's purposely useless to mock how much Chai doesn't pay attention. The big robots sound like a bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. There's a late game mission where there's a samurai dressed as a lunch lady who beats you up for ruining their cafeteria. There's an entire boss who's just one big fucking JoJo reference. There's a Leon the Professional reference. If you talk to the characters in the hideout in track 5, they'll all be extremely nice and flatter Chai out the ass, since this is all in his head after he was knocked out. And in that same dream scene, there's a fucking Twin Peaks reference. And then there's a robot recreation of Saturn eating his son. I can't make this up. I could sit in a room for hours, and I can't make this fucking shit up. I should note that a work of art imitating something else, or even using pre-existing music that people enjoy, doesn't work as an automatic get-out-of-jail-free card. The game itself still has to be good, and I hope that I'm making it very clear to you just how fucking good Hi-Fi Rush really is. It just kinda takes Jet Set Radio, Scott Pilgrim, Sunset Overdrive, and then throws it in a blender with DMC. To say that this game was made for me is a fucking understatement, man. The thick borders, the bright colors, the onomatopoeia, the music, the fucking manga screen tones. I legitimately cannot tell you how much my soul needed this game. As an action game, it's really strong. There's the usual light attack, heavy attack, dodge, parry, but the big difference is that if you hit someone on beat to the background music, you'll deal extra damage. Hitting enemies on beat fills up your reverb gauge, which is used to do special attacks. Beyond that, there's enemies who have shields or elements that Chai can't hit, so you'll need to call in your friends, but there's a cooldown timer preventing you from spamming them. There's lots of upgrades you can do. You can buy chips to alter your performance. That sounds like a penis pill, but I'm not rewriting that. You can buy tanks, which work as extra lives, new special attacks, pretty normal hack and slash shit. Sometimes I tend to lose track of the action since there's no lock-on whatsoever. During random battles, this is less of a problem, but during boss fights, it's much more prevalent since those can get pretty intense. Also, not a fan of the fact that you lose your reverb after an encounter. On paper, it pushes the player to use it more during fights. However, there's also a power-up which fills up your reverb gauge, and if you use that during a fight and end up not needing it, then you completely lose it. And that just ends up enticing players to hold on to things and play more reserved when the game is all about experimentation. Very small nitpick, but felt like mentioning it. There's lots of platforming. I don't dislike platforming in games, but as someone who grew up on the PlayStation 2 generation of jank, not all of it is made equal. Thankfully, it didn't overstay its welcome, and more importantly, none of it felt like it had to pull some bullshit out of its sleeve. They're all consistently fast-paced and kept in the mood, while also allowing you to breathe from the combo sections. In terms of rhythm games, I don't really have too much experience. The extent of my knowledge is Melody of Memory, Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, and that one time I played a Guitar Hero arcade cabinet with my friends at a gaming bar. I say all this because Hi-Fi Rush is very, very sensitive when it comes to timing things right. In combat, it's fine since Chai will always attack and being on beat is mostly for those who want a good score, but for exploration, collectibles, and especially bosses, it is very on point. I'm giving this preamble to say that despite how my gameplay might seem, my reaction time is very slow. So for me, turning off low latency mode and playing the game with headphones on improved the experience 10 times over. While I wasn't too familiar with much of the music of the game's soundtrack, a lot of it fucking smacks. My favorite is the inclusion of the Prodigy's Invaders Must Die near the end of the game. That shit, ooh. I used to watch Kick-Ass on repeat and listen to the trailer songs by the Prodigy in my spare time. Them and Linkin Park were just a match made in heaven for an edgy 10-year-old like me. The final set piece set to Wearing by the Joy Formidable is exactly how I want to feel when I play games. It was like 6 AM, I'd already been playing it for hours beforehand. I wanted to sleep, but I just couldn't until I finished the game. That's just how good it was. The song itself also threw me back to Breaking Dawn's release in 2011, which is not the sort of nostalgia I was expecting at that early in the morning. Listen, I could yell about this game for fucking hours. I haven't even mentioned the post-game shit with customization, extra difficulties, a challenge mode, stage collect, as well as extra doors to unlock throughout the game. I could yammer about that, but you get the point that I'm making. This is the exact sort of creativity and care I said that Xbox was lacking in my original Xbox games video. The last exclusive they made that I really loved was Sunset Overdrive, and that was, get this, 9 fucking years ago. And Tango Gameworks has somehow managed to release the game of the year within the first few months, 2 years in a row. It's like they're doing witchcraft over there. Hi-Fi Rush is a fucking blast, and that's all I wrote in the script, so it's true, you need to play it. If you don't have Game Pass, get Game Pass, do it that way. It's also on PC, but that release does have de novo for those who really give a shit. Doesn't matter. Play Hi-Fi Rush. It is so fucking good. Yeah, that's really all I got to say. Time to go back into my hole and work on the PS3 video. I hope you all enjoyed this review. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that jazz. I'll catch you guys next time. Later, kids. Have a good night.
I think that we had 2,000 or 3,000 lines of unique combat dialogue in Halo 1. And now we're talking more than 14,000 lines of combat dialogue. So the end result is that Marty and I are spending, Marty more than me, a bunch of time in the studio getting a lot of voices.
On a galactic scale.
Let's see. Fairly robust security algorithms. I could